In looking at properties, it's easy to assume that this problem is merely paint. It can be waiting for a while to be done, until you realize that this paint is what is protecting the building. Example of what happens when the paint fails. When the paint stops, the water is able to get in between the cracks of the boards and under the cracks of the boards. This particular board is actually warping away from the building. Board from another angle. You see how it's warped away from the building and created quite a large gap here. Now the water, as it comes down, is actually going between these boards and rotting them and getting in behind this building and starting to rot this next series of boards that goes across the bottom of the building. So a lack of paint in this area has created now damage that is difficult to repair and starts to become expensive to repair. The same building, you can see in this area that it really doesn't look that bad from the front. It's just peeling paint. Now we're going to go underneath and look up into here. And again, we see where the boards are separating from the building, creating gaps where water and bugs and bees can get inside and start to create more trouble. When the paint on the building has been kept up better, it's very easy to repaint the building. You can use a good quality paint with a primer built into it. It's just a single step of painting across it. This one looks very good. This building obviously has been redone not too long ago. But even in this building, if you get to the corners, you can see where the paint is starting to be gone or is gone, and the water is already starting to get in here. And so it's time, even for this building, to get a new coat of paint. It starts to peel like this. The process is much more difficult. This board is not really severely damaged, although there is warping at the corner already, which means that we're going to have to buy some fill and we're going to have to do some extra projects to get this to be sealed again. And it's never going to look that nice anymore. But it can be kept. This area can be kept, but it's going to have to be scraped, and then there's going to have to be special primers put on it, and then paint put on over the top of that. Much more costly. Once the paint has been allowed, or has been gone too long, then the board itself becomes affected and starts to break. At this point, you have no choice but to remove the actual board and replace it with a new board, much more expensive, and then hopefully there's not a lot of damage inside. Ends up with the board being destroyed and leaving open the ends of your building, which is the purpose of the Fascia board, to protect this area. So the end of this building is an example of that situation. This board is peeled all the way back now. The water has gone underneath. The board itself is rotten. And back behind in here, we see we have a bee's nest in here. We have destroyed insulation. We have pests and likely rats that have gotten in now to the building itself. Then underneath this building, because the water is here on the Fascia board, it's no longer protecting. The board that goes along the base, again, that protects the building, has also rotted. And you can see that it is coming up and off of the whole building here. This whole end is ready to just collapse in. It has also affected, therefore, the electronics and the lighting in this end of the building. All of this damage because of a lack of paint. And now, very expensive indeed.